Alright everyone, and welcome back to another F124 game news. This is episode number 5, I think. For today we're going to be talking about customization items in F124 career mode. But I'm going to start with some news that you may or may not have seen in the news recently about layoffs. Yes, that's right. Codemasters have suffered a round of layoffs. Basically a vague EA statement about business and stuff. I think what has happened here is that remember in previous years that there's been 2 development teams working biannually to create the F1 game every year, basically. So while one's working on the other on this one, F123, there's that lot were already starting to work on F125 already. Now, obviously, with the poor performance of the F1 game, EA have probably decided, and I'm just guessing here, but they probably have decided to cut that down to just one team developing the F1 game year on year. So, obviously, I'm hoping that they've still got the resources that they need to make the drastic changes to the game that is needed for F124. As well, there was also another comment from a previous thing about having he missed the reputation system and wished that you could have genuine rivalries. Maybe it's an attractive relationship with other teams as drivers, which I mentioned previously. Yeah, definitely would make a lot more impact. So thank you for all your comments and below. I'm going to start now with the first one. Font for number was suggested by Lester about 2 months ago. Apology about that. I mean, we have just about got to this episode. Yeah, number font selection. Like this, I haven't thought about this one before, but this is surely a crucial one. Like having several different numbers, how hard would it be to have the font selection? I don't know how they're going to implement it, but it's sure that there needs to be definitely more than one. At minimum, maybe 5, maybe. It's going to be hard. You could say it's hard to implement the numbers, but then nobody's changing. There's probably going to be little change with deliveries, knowing what happened this year. So there's pretty much no excuse. Better customization as well was mentioned. Now, expanding on that, and I think someone that everyone has been moaning about, helmet editor and better helmets. The problem that I have with F123 is, well, we've already had livery editor. I'll come back to that shortly, but a helmet editor is something that is probably overdue. The helmets in the F1 game are terrible. There are some fantastic helmets that have been in the F1 game over the years, but on F123 and F122, these past 2 games have been dreadful. The helmets aren't even unlockable as part of the podium pass anymore. It's full on F1 world in that regard. So yes, I'm also calling for, in driver career mode, the sponsors to appear on the helmet. Just the team sponsors. You might even have some fake personal sponsors as well. But, having that involved would so much better than just having a plain helmet. It'd be so much better. Now, number 4 comes a lot from Orange Theory. I'm going to start with the bottom one about a livery editor. Again, this is purely also simple. The F1 mobile game, which, by the way, shout outs to them. They've got snow in their game when, obviously it's Christmas time. We want to go and race a bit on the snow. They've put snow on their tracks in their game. Where's that inspiration for the F1 desktop, PC and console version? Just thinking about it, Codemasters and EA. yeah, there's the same team as well, because EA also make that game, so there really is no excuse. I know it's in collaboration with somebody else, so maybe they need to bring those in. It was in collaboration. I know they've had issues, by the way. If you're an F1 Mobile fan, I'm aware that they have had issues with that game, but obviously it's something nice to sort of get that off. But yeah, I just thought I'd quickly mention that. Also, another one that was suggested by Orange Theory, custom sponsor placements. Yes, absolutely, to place sponsors everywhere you want on the car, not just in the fixed positions, because they don't work with every livery. Some of the liveries have dreadful sponsor placements and they just don't work. And it's actually got to the point where if I do make it a thing, which is usually just for a multiplayer episode, by the way, which stay tuned for that. That dreadfully is coming, unfortunately. Yes, basically, not in the fixed positions. Be able to have more than 5 sponsors, absolutely. McLaren have 46. I know they don't all be on the car, but you want to have a lot of sponsors. And obviously, obviously, I've also said this in the past, but the sponsor should pay more for having a more prominent sponsor position, and the bigger the sponsor. Yeah, just to think about that. Obviously there's a monetary value there should be the monetary value as well. Obviously some sponsors are paying more, even though they're not title sponsors. They're not all going to be paying the same, are they? Yes, also suggested by Orange Number is just have the names and numbers appear on the race routes on drivers change teams as well. And I think there was also the helmets as well, the drivers changing teams, and also pit garages. This is a fantastic ideas from Orange Theory there. These are okay. Well, I'll start with the numbers. Yeah, I don't understand why they couldn't implement something. I guess the problem is with the F2 drivers, they'd have to give them a set number to be able to implement this. Obviously, it'd be nice if you could do that for yourself. This is possible with modding, by the way. And then also the helmets when they move teams. Absolutely, I think it's coming driver career mode on Thursday. You'll see a little cutscene. It's just the introduction to qualifying cutscene, because that's the only cutscene we've got. Yes, Lance Stroll obviously races for Williams in my driver career mode, but obviously in he obviously still got an Aston Martin helmet, as well. I'm also going to add in better standard liveries, because the liveries have not been that great as well. Lostair also, by the way, mentioned having a livery and a helmet editor as well. But yeah, definitely better standard liveries. And obviously pit position changes, by the way, mentioned by Orange Theory. Yeah, absolutely. I think this was mentioned by Tim at Marduk actually later last season, but every season they change. I don't want to be dry, they should be changed, especially for my team. You win the championship and you're still right down the end of the pit lane as well. It shouldn't be too hard to move the pit garages about, really, but there we go. The final one, by the way, that I'm going to talk about is something that you probably haven't thought about, but customizing the HQ. And I'm also going to link this back to the personal space that I talked about, getting that little personal space that the drivers have in Breaking Point added to career mode. Now obviously the HQ as well, if you're in my team career mode, you want to be able to design the HQ and lay it out as you want to, and not have just a bog standard boring white wall background. Yeah, I'm kind of getting GTA 5. It was the bunker. It was the bunker that brought this on to me in GTA 5. I know it's a lot of things that customise ASOL in GTA 5, but obviously that game is old school, so I'm going to say this now. Well, obviously they've had layoffs. We're waiting to see if we're going to get a new game engine. But even still, there has to be changes to career mode. You know, there has to be changes. You cannot be ignoring the #1 game mode on the F1 game. Because you know, nobody is playing, very little people play F1 World. A lot of us are still playing career mode. It's about time they pulled their finger out, and it's about time that they produced a proper game with a proper career mode. And yes, and you know, vast improvements are required. Otherwise, well, it's going to be the end of the F1 game on EA, and you know, FOM could look to replace them at some point. But yes, that's where I'm going to leave it for today's video. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, see plenty more F1 24 career mode, game ideas. There is actually only 2 remaining, one of which is multiplayer as well, slash F1 World, because I will be mentioning F1 World in there. So if you've got ideas for that, let me know in the comments below. And there'll also be a sort of final roundup episode as well, which will be coming out probably in the new year sometime. So yeah, if you've got any other stuff that I haven't mentioned so far in this series, then again, let me know in the comments below. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.